My name is Tommy Mihok, and I've been working at an Audi dealership since 2000.
Yeah. Uh, if you know.
Thanks, man.
That's short and simple. There we go.
Yeah. All right. You got a chance to go to the Miami Grand Prix a couple
Yep.
weeks ago, and I am in a week headed to Canada. So
Oh,
figure we have some things to check in on.
yeah, absolutely. It definitely exceeded my expectations. We did the Turn One Club, the tickets that Audi had sold a 3-day package for. And being it was their first Grand Prix as a Formula One team in the US, I didn't know what to expect. I thought it'd be nice, but they did a really amazing job on it. The venue, the display vehicles, the branding, the food, the cocktails. It was
Was it?
awesome. Yep.
So they started advertising this a couple months ago as hospitality, and it was. I know that like going into it, I knew when I ran the story, we'd probably get some pushback from people who probably were used more to the Sebring Turn One Club, where going to an IMSA race or an ALMS race before that is pretty affordable thing. Where going to a Formula One race, especially a Formula One race in Miami, is a bit more expensive. And they had, from what I understand, the choice spot on Turn One. Is that pretty accurate?
Oh yeah, for sure. There was nothing around them. Cadillac had a huge grandstand that was branded Cadillac, but I don't know if they paid
Did
for
they?
that or how that all worked. And there was nothing to the left of us at turn
Was it?
one. Yeah.
See, I think price per head was 9,000 something,
It was
and
9,500 a head, yeah, for all 3 days.
yeah. So I think I did see a little bit of pushback from people who were readers. Other people were like, yeah, that's kind of par for the course for Miami. So whatever it is, what it is. If you want to play ball there, that's what you got to play.
Yeah, I've never been to F1 before, so you and I know we talk all the time. I grew up in
Right.
Dover, Delaware. I'm a NASCAR family, so I've been to tons of NASCAR. I'm going this weekend. I have
All
hot
right.
passes for NASCAR, and that's pretty strict to get in and around the drivers and in the pit nowadays. ALMS over
That's
here.
what you're saying is
Block.
that number is pretty accurate for NASCAR as well.
No, it's not. But around sports car racing, we're so used to just having access to everybody. Then you go to
Right.
NASCAR, and if you don't have a hot pass, you can't get by the drivers. Growing up, I you could go to whatever hotels were in town at first thing in the morning, and Kyle Petty would be coming out of the hotel and going to the track. You can meet him. Now they all stay in the infield in their trailers, and you cannot get access to them. So NASCAR went that way a while ago. So I knew F1 was very similar with accessibility, but it was way more extreme than I ever would have thought. So the prices are crazy, but how much you have to pay to see stuff? I
Listen,
got lucky because of what happened, which we'll go into. But yeah, I started poking around on Grand Prix tours and some of these websites, and the packages they're insane,
are they
insane. And then when you
like
put a hotel and airplane in there, it's. I started looking at Austin because I said I'm gonna go take my kids.
right?
And a grandstand ticket was $2,000 a day. I'm pretty sure.
Really? A
Yeah, in certain
day?
areas. Yeah, certain areas. If you wanted overhead, not in the sun, to be in the shade.
Wow.
So I didn't get to go Friday because we flew in that day and went to the hotel. But if you break it down to $3,000 a day to be in air conditioning and have all your food and drinks and nice bathrooms, it's not bad. The problem with these packages is you cannot buy a single day. You have to buy all three.
They. I don't know if you saw. They did open it up to either what was it Friday only, which was pretty affordable, but you're there for
Hmm.
practice. And then there was a Saturday and Sunday pass. I think that was towards the end once they probably had a little bit of inventory left over and we were coming in hot on the race day.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, Canada is well, I don't know if I have the typical experience. I think that's the other thing. I'm not going as press. I'm not getting like any invite from Audi or anything like that. So but that said, I have a friend who we both know, and I'm not gonna name him here. Um, but he's awesome and he's been going there for like 25 years and he has amazing seats
I know who it
and
is.
and a customer of yours, I think. Um,
Yep.
and so by the way, did we say Audi Wilmington? Should we say that? I mean,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So I don't think we mentioned yet, but you are GM of Audi Wilmington.
Correct. Yep. Well, I'm
In
not.
addition to
Yeah.
that, But amazing dealer. I'm a customer. I drive out of my way to go to Audi Wilmington and love it, and that's my commercial for it, and it's totally worth it.
Thank you, George.
Yeah, true enthusiasts, and you guys get it. So not against the other dealers that are closer, but there's a difference, and I love it.
Thank you.
Anyway, we know him, and he had this block of tickets that he buys every year, and like sometimes people will kind of like shuffle out, right? Like they
Mhm.
got something else going on or whatever. They can't take their normal seats. So like of the normal group that goes every year, I'm not one of those, but a couple of them had to bail, and so there were a couple available tickets. So I'm at like $600 a night, or sorry, $600 for the weekend per ticket. This is grandstands tickets, but like good seats near the
That's good. Yeah,
yeah,
that's not
near
bad.
there's like a what is um there's one corner where like a hairpin where you get them going, and then like he showed me video from a previous year. You get them going past you and then coming back at you.
Oh, okay.
And so $600 a head for that, and then I get on and got in on his hotel block as well, which was again you book early. I booked in like October, November of last year, so quite a while ago. But I'm at $1,000 a night for that. Two queens for my. No, I'm taking my wife and my daughters, and I think that's about as cheap as I can get in on going to it. We didn't do any hospitality, but like taking the entire family gets obscene, if you're not
I
figuring
know.
out the way in. But between that and the Canadian dollar is kind of weak against the U.S. dollar. I think that like, and I can drive to Montreal. They're doing a car show, Route 26 in like
I
Old
saw
Town,
that. Yeah.
right? God love out of Canada. They're doing some cool stuff, and so I entered my SQ8 in that, and with my Nemesis wheels, and
Yeah.
we'll be up there. So
Yeah, that's still a good price. You're gonna love it. I mean, it's
yeah,
the first year of the R26. It sounds awesome in person. All the cars
does it?
sound very similar, obviously, with the 1.6 liter V6, but it does have a unique sound and is probably one of the best sounding cars.
Yeah,
That and the Red Bull, believe it or not, who are both on new powertrains, were my
right.
favorite sounding cars.
They're paired with Ford now, right? It's Honda last year.
Yeah, Ford branding on there. Nobody really knows, I guess. It's Red Bull Powertrain Technologies and Ford. I think they've been working on it for about 5 years, though, behind the
Have
scenes.
they?
Yeah, that car sounds awesome, but yeah, it's you're gonna have a blast. I
This
only got lucky with the hospitality. All right, so I had the Turn One Club, and then an Audi of America employee happened to text me Friday. I don't think I'll say it on here. I was at the pool, just checked in. He said, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow at 11?" And I said, "I'm going to the F1 race." And he said, "Meet me at the Turn One Club at 11. We're going on a walk." So I met him at 11, and the promoter for the Grand Prix had essentially given Audi some access to do a paddock tour and a grid tour. So
oh wow,
he pinged me, and I met him over there. I got to see the whole thing behind the scenes, how it works, how you get in, how exclusive it is,
how rad.
the drivers. It was a lanyard with it's a beautiful lanyard. I wanted to keep it for a souvenir, but they take it back from you because you have to scan it to get access and everything. But yeah, you're back there. That's where I ran into McNish right away, and we're standing outside the Audi garage on the back end side of the paddock, which you cannot go in. And then you walk through and you see I mean, everybody you can think of, all the TV personalities getting ready for their sessions, teams or girlfriends. Every driver's riding around on a scooter. It was spectacular. It was the grid walk was the best, but the back behind the scenes was wild.
So that all you had sent a couple photos, which I did publish in our update. So the photos of you and McNish, or the photos of you on the grid, are from this extracurricular activity. It wasn't from Turn One Club access.
No, no. I have some other pictures that I take that are stuff I find is neat, which you get back there, they had these big tubs with the blowers they use to cool the intakes. And I have a picture I'll send you. It says Hulkenberg. So Hulkenberg and Bortoletto each had their own. And it's a bunch of these blowers they look like 3D printed attachments, spray painted yellow, that they put them in the grid on the intake and the radiators to keep the cars cool. And they're just all laid out in this bin. And I was like, oh,
That's rad.
this reminds me of, the ALMS and WEC days of where everything's thought out. So
Yeah.
grabbed a couple pictures of stuff like that. You couldn't get in the actual garage, but yeah, Alan was awesome. I showed him a picture of me and him in Sebring in 2012. I didn't get to run into him after I texted you though and tell him you said hello. He
Right.
was,
And no worries.
he was locked in after that.
How I'm sure everybody, the newness to the position or that position in general, is going to bring so much more to attention to him anytime he steps across a threshold at an F1 race or anywhere near an F1 race. What
Yeah.
did he talk much about the new role or what that's been like for him?
Not in detail. I did say we're very lucky to have you, and he was the perfect guy for the job. There was two other people around that were trying to pin him down and get their photo, and I didn't want to take up too much of his time. This was right before the sprint, and he was running around, but he still took the time to stop and say hello, which is typical Alan. He looks good. He looks like he hasn't aged a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super happy for him, man. That like I know he kind of unlike the rest of his contemporaries, he stepped into the management role of Formula E. And I
Yeah.
think they got that championship while he was in that position.
They
They
did.
did in 1 year won a championship in Formula E.
They
So
did.
like
That's the year I went. I went to the Brooklyn race that year. That was the year they
they do.
won. Yeah. Yep.
I did
Super
1 year,
cool.
but I don't think they won that year. And I very early before Audi was in it, I did the Miami race when it was like off sports line doing that team.
Yeah. It's still going. Porsche just showed their next gen car. It looks pretty good.
I mean,
It's
these
still
gen cars look pretty crazy and
yeah.
racy. I hear they'll do like a normal track now and
Yeah.
not like yeah, I think that was the part they did so many street courses before because they didn't have it in them to do like a long track where you're going to do high speed. The batteries just
Correct.
didn't last.
I think Porsche added a couple teams, another two cars to the grid.
Did they?
They're still full steam ahead with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
One
But
of
yeah,
these years that.
Alan's the perfect guy for the job. It was I was so happy to see him. They were
Yeah.
all wearing the Miami themed. You know, they had the Miami collection. So what's neat is all the stuff you can buy online is what they're all wearing it. So
Yeah.
from sneakers to the jerseys, that was super cool.
So what's your take on? I'll give you a hot take on that apparel line. I'm gonna be critical probably because I'm an old man. I guess is it. You're younger than me, so see if it resonates with you.
Okay.
Intentionally, I was reading from like some copy about from Adidas that they're going for like nostalgia of like 2000 early 2000s soccer team or so, like soccer wear vibes. Like if you went to the Adidas store in the 2000s and bought yourself some clothing,
Hmm.
and that's what I've thought the whole time. Is it looks like a soccer team, right? Like which is like
Are you
cool, but
talking
it's a
about the
racing team.
Miami specific stuff or the line as
No,
a
all of
whole?
it. Yeah, and the Miami stuff largely the same, right? Just the Miami colors versus the
Yeah, it
red.
had different. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little bit more reflective in person. The pictures show it.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know. When they first said it, I was expecting typical team gear with the logos everywhere.
yeah,
And then I remember somebody talking about how the Audi car and the whole branding as a whole was going to be much simpler, and it was intentional.
right.
So I like the line. I like that they have my favorite stuff is the team wear, which is black with the red accents. That's the best looking
Right.
stuff.
Agreed.
I
That
have
looks
a ton of
fantastic.
yeah. My kids have everything. The fits are pretty tough on some of the like the driver jersey. It doesn't. It's so tight, even if
Is
you're a
it?
small frame. Yeah. So some of the fits are a little funky. But I do like how they have some stuff with the white base or the gray base and then the black with the red. And I think it'll evolve over time.
I dig the colors. I dig the team branding. I think what and I'm not anti Adidas. I own a lot of Adidas stuff. I wear a lot of the sneakers, whatever. But like you know how they'll do like on a soccer jerseys, the very prominent like three stripe stuff on your shoulders and whatever else. It just seems like a soccer team versus like I think because all the years I spent in Le Mans, it's usually the German stuff's always so clean. You have the logos, but that's it. And I think that's what I'm looking for is just sort of like clean, not all the soccer jersey flair. And maybe I think you hit on it there. It's like I expected it to be less than what it is, and it's a little too Adidas for me, and like a little less Audi. Man, that's just
Yeah,
me being an old man.
I have the t-shirt with the red stripes on the shoulder. It's yeah, I wear it to my son's little league games and I'm still happy with the plain black t-shirt with logos on it and
Yeah,
the stuff is nothing's really black, it's dark gray. It's not bad.
I'm not
Aston
beefing on
Martin
it. I
has
love the
the
colors.
sexiest.
I just like
Yeah.
I don't want to. Here's what it is. I also like think of like I'm gonna be ageist now because I was just bagging on myself being an old man, so I feel like it's fair. I feel like you get to the 2000 stuff, and I've either got to be like a millennial who's way younger than me, or I've got to be like a boomer hanging out at the villages who wears sweatpants every day. You know what I mean? And if
I
I'm one of
know.
them, then I'm like, no, the activewear is cool. But like, I'm just looking for like the kind of like Euro cut racing vibe. And I
That's how
get
I
that they
am.
probably want to break that mold, but
Just give me a nice motorsport polo or a t-shirt. I'm good.
yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
was telling, I don't know if you heard, but the Aston Martin branding and their gear as a team is pretty top notch, I'll say.
Is it
The colors are awesome, and even though the car's not impressive from a
right?
performance standpoint, as a brand, their stuff looks awesome. It
I
really does.
wonder. I don't think they're with Adidas. Has I think they
It might
just
be
signed
Hugo
Red.
Boss,
Oh, that with Hugo Boss. That probably explains it.
maybe or Puma, but yeah, their stuff looks super
Puma
nice.
is Ferrari Formula One corporate, and I thought they had another one. Plus, they also have BMW Motorsport and Porsche Motorsport.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
then Adidas has Audi, Mercedes Benz, and they just signed Red Bulls. So, oh, I think McLaren went to Puma as well.
Okay. Yeah, there's somebody else that went to Adidas. Oh, Red Bull went to Adidas, and they said they're done after that.
Right.
That was an article. Yep.
Yeah.
But
So
yes,
they have their portfolios. Anyway,
yeah, the teams were all that. But yeah, the team around the car on the grid has the black race suits with all the red, and they look
yeah,
awesome.
those
Yeah,
race suits look fantastic with the red branding and the.
that's
Did you
good
see
stuff.
Miami was also the debut of this RS5 Pirelli Hot Laps car?
Yep, got some time around that up close.
Yeah.
Going through my pictures here. Yeah, I didn't get to see it on track for whatever reason. I don't know where I was, but I saw it in the paddock afterwards. They had at least three because there were two parked with the hood up after the hot laps cooling, and then there was one in the paddock where the Porsche Cup cars were. So they had a McLaren row, Porsche Cup, and then a row of all the hot lap cars.
We had
And I
a.
mean, go ahead.
God,
I'll say it's painted exactly like the R26. I thought it'd be close, but my takeaway from the R26 up close was it was a lot darker titanium than pictures show.
is
And the
it
car,
more gray or is it kind of? It almost looks gold in some pictures.
it does, but no, it's a titanium, matte titanium,
So
but
like a gray,
it's a warmer hue. Warm
right?
grays, cool grays. It's definitely warmer. But it was a little darker than I expected. But car looks great in person.
Yeah. So you saw three. The reason I asked the first photos of that car popped up. There was somebody who took photos of it in air transit, and they showed up on Instagram.
Yeah, I saw. Yep.
I ran them, and then the kid eventually he was psyched at first because we were getting a ton of traffic on it. It was some kid, and then
Yep.
he's like, my buddy asked if we could take it down, so we took it down. Um,
Yep.
and but then I have somebody else who saw pictures of it in transit as well, and there were they definitely saw three.
Yeah. Yeah, there was
So
100% three of them there, maybe more. But yeah, awesome. The grill is huge. I got to see RS5 twice before it debuted in the last couple years in dealer trips.
yeah,
But to see the finished product with brake dust all over it, having be on track it's badass. The red rings, the
yeah.
brakes, the seats are amazing. It's big, it's heavy,
Do, do
but
the red
it's
rings
impressive.
work? Like I don't mind them, but I noticed a lot of the responses to those photos on my Instagram account
Oh,
that
what'd they say? I didn't notice.
people tend not to like the red rings, and I'm not sure why. I
Yeah,
don't.
no, I thought they look great. It has red calipers, has red rings on the center caps, which was really neat. It all
Right?
tied in nicely. It wasn't too much red. I think on that particular concept to go with the R26, it was perfect.
Yeah. Did you
I would not
see?
want black rings on it. It would be too much black, but I also don't like black rings on the grill as a whole.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind them, but now that it's everything, it's kind of like Nardo Gray. When I first saw black rings, I dug it because not everybody had it. But now that everybody has it, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's cool, but I don't want it.
Yeah, I think they're gonna slowly phase them out and go back to chrome rings on the grill and just black everywhere else, which people
All
will
right.
probably not like. But if you see a black optic Q8 coming down the road like yours from a distance with black rings, it looks like just a big opening on the front. So I think they're trying to reel that in a little bit. Who knows?
Have you seen? They showed a. All right, so sharing screens. You see this?
Yep. Oh yeah.
So this was the car we're talking about. But in
Yeah.
China, at the Chinese Grand Prix, they launched the SQ8 into the market, and so they did something very similar.
Yeah, I saw this. I didn't like it as much. I thought the red mirrors especially
The
were.
red mirrors, the fin, and this like striping around the wheels, the inner and the outer. To me, it was just it's too much.
Yeah, reminds me of something Opt would probably do. Not in a bad way. It just seems like something they would do on one of their builds.
Well, Opt, yeah, I mean, in fairness to Opt, I mean, Opt does some pretty crazy stuff, and if you want an Opt, then you get an Opt. And a lot of I hung out with Hans Jürgen Opt one time at an event and interviewed him. I think back in the Fortitude days, and I was kind of asking because back then Opt stuff was pretty wild,
Hmm.
and the US trending was always kind of OEM plus and clean, and so I kind of asked him about that, and he said, "Well, like a lot of our market is the Middle Eastern market, and the Middle Eastern market like stuff that's like really look at me."
Oh yeah,
And
they buy all the Mansory kits that no one
right.
else will buy.
So yeah, so I mean, I get why they do what they do, but I think what surprised me with that, I mean, and who knows what the Chinese market tastes too. I don't know. And I don't hate it. It's just it's so look at me. I'm kind of like where the RS5 kind of hits it just right with a if you don't like the rings are easy to swap. So
Yeah, and that picture shows you how warm that gray is versus the other silver.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
On that
that's
screen,
what
you have the, I know we're jumping around, you have the competition RS3, and Philip said that's the spec I have to order. That green with those
yeah.
wheels.
The green is the spec.
I told him I
That's
would
gonna
do
look
it. Yeah.
amazing. Are
Yeah.
you getting one?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. They're super limited, but I think I'll get one.
Do you know how many we'll be getting? Are you allowed to
No,
say?
he mentioned it, and I don't remember what the number was. It's not
But
a lot though.
you guys do a lot of Audi sports, so you're pretty like, aren't you like one of the bigger Audi sport dealers in the East Coast?
Back when R8 was still in production, we were number six nationally and number one in I believe it was the Eastern region. Atlanta still had us on the East Coast.
Got it.
Yeah, we're big in that. I have
But
a ton
but
of
but
RS3s all the time and RS6s.
and is your RS3 competition limited sold yet?
Now?
There you go.
Nope.
There's the tip for somebody who's looking for one.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
It,
order green,
yeah, I told him I would do that.
and
And
that's
the
that.
facelift RS3 looks great. It's been a huge hit.
Yeah, that's the if I've heard any beef on that car because a couple of they did a Euro launch for the car.
Mhm.
Everybody loves it. Like of the journalists I've talked to who've driven it, or I watched a couple reviews as well on YouTube and whatever. But the problem is the pricing is like significantly higher.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah,
it's
that'll
not.
be the challenge with RS5. And if we get Avant, we don't get Avant, is the pricing because it's got a battery in it now.
Right.
And that's expensive and it's going to go up. So that's going to be the challenge pricing that car.
I kind of wish I get how maybe they can't, but like you read about how the RS3's engine might make it longer here, to the US market. And I think the reason why I'm fairly certain I'm not talking out of my ass here, that the reason why the RS5 and so many others are going hybrid is EU7, right? And so you run electric at moments in the cycle where the expectation is that it be that clean. And that's the way you're able to do it. But it's adding all this weight, right? New RS5 is the weight of a outgoing RS6, which was
Yeah.
kind of a big, heavy thing until the M5 came out, and then it all of a sudden kind of seemed like a featherweight. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the problem. Yep.
exactly right. But it kind of makes you wonder, like, could they have? They probably would. People will complain all the time. So had they done what I'm about to say, they probably would have got complained the other way. But could they have made a US spec version that was just non-hybrid engine? That's it, right? Like basically a new body style, same as the old car.
Probably, I don't know. When I've spoken to
They
him in the
could,
past on projects like this, I believe
yeah,
there is a part of that business where the US market, there was a time where we were talking about 2.9 going into the B10 S cars, not the 3 liter, and markets putting up the money to make that happen. So the US would say, we're going to pay X amount into developing and bringing this car over. But with the state of the US business right now, with
yeah,
I mean, Germany looks at us and says, we don't see a business case over there for anything right now, like whether it's factory. I don't want to say that, but it's hard to
right.
ask for stuff with the numbers.
The tariffs make it very unattractive, and the chaos around the tariffs that you can't really count
Yes.
on even the tariff being the tariff, or it might change. No,
Yep.
agreed. I can see where whatever your politics are, right? Like not you or anybody listening, right? It's more just if business isn't stable, business isn't stable. That's the problem. Um,
Yeah, the tariffs killed them because they ate them and they still are because they weren't in a position as a brand to raise the price and have people still buy the cars. Sadly,
right,
A5, they're all late to market. We have software issues. This is nothing new, and they did the right thing by eating the tariffs, and I fully support them for doing it. It costs a lot of money. I don't know. I know how much they were losing a month. I think they were saying it was about 7,000 a car, and they were doing 15,000 cars a month out of the port. They were losing that on. So you do the math, but it was the right move, not raising the
right.
price. So
2.9 in the S5 is a really fascinating consideration, right? Like I don't know what
mhm.
I think. Again, I may be talking out of my ass, but I'm fairly certain I know this. Is that I believe the 2.9 is a unit they buy from Porsche, where the 3 liter is one that Audi builds themselves.
That's my understanding.
So the question is, what would Porsche have sold them at a unit cost? With Porsche kind of at the time getting out of the Macan business, maybe the pricing would have been good enough where like it's interesting to think of like the S5 being the RS5 without the hybrid system and the flares, in
Yeah.
which case I bet they'd be selling a lot of S5s.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be S5 and SQ5 and around a 400 horsepower version now. So not the full
Right.
2.9 RS, but still would have been a neat car. And I think that was strictly based on BMW numbers and the competition having better power units in that area.
Yeah. I
And I
mean,
thought, yeah, didn't we just talk about this? Who was the project lead on B10? I thought it was somebody who had a hand in the Carrera GT, and he was pushing that 2.9, but
I
this was
don't
so
know,
long ago.
didn't Dolner have some rare GT concept experience?
I don't know. I saw A5 in 2019 in Munich, and it was called A4 sedan on stage, but it was the current A5. That's how
Was it
old that car is. Yeah. Yep.
what year?
What's that?
What year was that?
2019.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, we have a friend who told me that I think it was mainly software, but these some of these cars are 4 years old, right? Like a lot of the cars got bumped 4 years because of software
Yeah.
delays.
Oh, yes. Yep. Which we'll see how that goes when we do the Rivian software.
Yeah.
Which I think it's
Gen-
2029 now, I think. Did you say that or did you read that?
Um, I going back on what I think I know. I I've heard some people saying it's going to be in Concept C production, and that
Mhm.
car's doing like what 27 or 28. But I don't think it's in that car. I, like I've heard some journalists say it, but I don't know their source. And the weird thing with that car is it's like it's its own platform set that like is 718 EV. It's not
Yep.
this was the SSP, I believe is the name of
Right.
this the scalable or electric.
Yeah.
I think the first place, the last I'd heard, the first place we see that software is either SSP based product or the Scout, which is not
What is
SSP.
coming out on SSP? I mean, whatever came of that platform?
Supposedly it's scalable from like the way they used to introduce it. Bugatti's not in the group anymore, so Bugatti didn't count. But back when I first heard about it, it was like it would underpin. It was so scalable, it could underpin everything from Polo to Bugatti.
Oh, wow.
Um, supposedly, right? Um, but I don't know. So it was to underpin the here's the other wrench of it. SSP is a scalable electric architecture. So future electrics beyond currently MEB underpins Q4 at Audi and then all the Volkswagen ID stuff. And I think there's a Ford SUV on there somewhere. And then there's MEB, which is sorry, I already said MEB. Then there's what's the I'm blanking on it, Tommy. Maybe that underpins the Q6 PPE.
PPE, Premium Platform Electric.
Right. So there's PPE that's underneath the Macan and the Q6 and the A6 e-tron and that stuff. And then the SSP takes the next gen. So like A4 e-tron, um, whatever the A8 replacement is, whether we get it or not, I don't know because Q9 may functionally replace that in this market.
Yeah, A8 still going to live on apparently, but it does well globally. I think just this market, those cars are dying.
I
The
mean,
S-Class dominates that series.
if I had, I'm not in product planning, but if I were, like I would not invest in A8. It just doesn't seem like Q9 or an SUV in that size range here in the US, X7.
Mhm.
I don't know.
From my
It's
understanding, A8 is way on the back burner right now in terms of projects they're working on.
and that makes sense. And at this point, like they seem to have their finger on the pulse of the part is they've got to get through this sort of like product that was already in line to come out before they arrived.
Yeah,
Uh, Fast track a couple home runs through to just get people's attention, but otherwise, you know, stay
yeah.
focused.
Getting that Q7 and Q9 out this year are huge. I know they're all working on that, and then I think from there we're going to be between what Gernot's doing and Reuven coming back, we're going to be in good shape.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I hope so. I think it's more like what I worry about is the couple things those guys can't control, which is like how EU7 is going to kind of force hybridization of everything. And that just
Yeah,
adds weight until battery tech, like, basically mass comes up to where we need it to be. Like, it's going to make everything on the road just a big, heavy pig. And
yeah.
like, that's like I was just out driving and just had to run up to Carlisle today for the first day of the show, the import show, and like I took my SQ8 today, and it's like I love the thing on the highway. There's nothing better, right? It's just this
Yeah.
big land yacht that like is so comfortable, so quiet, so fast, so composed. Um, but then I get like I just picked up a TT recently too, and I'm driving that thing, and like it's so light and tossable, and
I saw that. I saw the one you got. Yeah.
yeah, dude, Nagi,
Yeah.
factory Nagi.
Yeah. Well, so we're going to be good. I know I spoke about the people in Germany because they're the ones obviously fixing the product that ultimately we get in the US, but Philip, Timo, and now Vito on the US side and everyone I deal with here, they're feeling good. They work their asses off. Sorry for my
Yeah,
language. And they're really feeling good about it, and they do a great job. I met Vito in
did
Miami
you
and talked to him for a while. Yeah, yeah. Timo introduced me.
see real
Had
deal?
yeah, good energy, good vibes,
Good.
good ideas. Really asked me a lot of questions no one else had asked me before,
Oh,
and yeah, we're gonna be good. I can tell you, we'll get it turned around for sure.
I mean, I love what he's done in Canada. You look at like they have great. They're still committed to auto shows. They do some really cool events around that. They're doing this Route 26 thing at. I think that's where I'm going with kind of what some of the things we were talking about before we jumped on. Right, that is the difference between like those of us who can afford to do things, and then there's this whole other clientele, and you can't ignore that part of the market. There are people who
No.
have buying like crazy level and spending crazy level. But like the idea of like to me, Route 26 and Canada, the difference between that and Miami, it's probably unfair to compare Miami to Montreal because they're two very different markets, two very different races, whatever. But like 10,000 ahead versus like Route 26 that like anybody can just enter their car. No, it's not in the race, right? Those people aren't going to get in to see the F1 cars race and whatever else, but it gives them a chance to be part of it. And it's an automotive thing, right? Where like, yeah, could I go hang out at like, I think in Miami, they took over like a cafe.
They did,
And
and they had a section in the Wynwood. It was the art district where they had an R26 and merch set
okay,
up, and they had every night of the week. Like Al was there one night, Gabriel Bortoletto was there, Mattia was there, but it was a 45-minute Uber ride from my hotel
was it
each way.
really?
I just couldn't make it over there ever. Yeah, but
So
I think you'll see with F1 in the US more events like that leading up to before the Grand Prix as it develops.
yeah. Well, I think that's what I would love to know. I would love to know more about it, right? That's been the biggest challenge of like covering the Audi beat. And I don't know if it's just like I'm a square peg in a round hole right now where like most car journalists aren't going to write about the nitty gritty of a team pop up event or whatever, right? But
Yeah.
but but reaching out to the Audi owner and enthusiast community, it's like if you know the R26 is going to be somewhere, you want to share in that, right? So
Yes.
around which event was it? I think it might have been Australian GP. The I don't know if you saw like the day of, like Audi and Apple posted that like the R26 was going to be at the Apple store in Manhattan.
I saw. I know.
And I'm like, I almost tried to get there, right? Like I was like, I'm going to have to drop everything to make it happen. It's a 3 hour drive into the city. Like, and that's in clean running, which it's not going to be that, but like, it was a very cool event, but it was like, man, if you don't get the word out, like you're not going to, and like, I don't know if it's just, maybe it's not, they don't want that audience. They just want like the hipster Manhattanites who wander in and discover the brand. I have no idea. I don't really understand the messaging. I'm not trying to beat up on whoever's doing it, but like, as somebody who still hasn't seen the car and would love to, it's frustrating when like you hear about these events or like Miami. I knew that they were doing the backlot thing, but I didn't really know many details on it or tell people McNish will be there Friday or whatever.
So if you're on the email list, they did a pretty good job of emailing from Revolut F1 what was going on. But I think one of the links was find us off track. And you click that and it opened up to the backlot stuff. And it gave you an itinerary. But there was a handful of clicks you had to go through and you had to fill out a form to get access.
Yeah.
So they did try to do it, but if you're not on their email list and you had to thumb around the email, it was a little confusing.
All right.
But I think you'll see more of that. I was talking to a good customer of ours, a VIP. We chat once a week, probably on Motorsport, and he had a great point. Is we're talking about how expensive it is and how it's not accessible. But really, we got on the subject of the budget caps and how they never get to test, and how Audi has these starting issues right now, and how do you work through it when you're so capped? And historically, they would go and just rent out Sebring for a weekend and run a simulation. He said if F1 would open the track like the Thursday or the Wednesday before and make it free to the public and have a test and tune day for the teams, what that would do for even more
Wow.
popular. So, hey, Thursday, open to the public, come and they get to see it, and then they can decide whether they want to buy a ticket for the next couple days, and then the teams get to go out there for a couple hours and do a test and tune. Because
Yeah.
I think I was reading somewhere where those cars come off. Now, this could be completely wrong. They come off from the previous race and their setup. They're going to run them for about 10 laps, get the data, and then they'll do their setup for Miami and then run it and compare. They almost did like a baseline of how the car came from the previous race. I
Right.
don't know if that's true or not. I read a ton of motorsport articles, but I did come across that somewhere.
I wonder if they. I don't know. I don't know about from a car and setup standpoint, but I'm thinking more from a practicality, like details standpoint for the event management people, right?
Yep.
And if you, I've been on back in the LMP1 days, right? I've been to R18 tests, like when they were first testing the R18 the first year, when they were
I
benchmarking
remember.
the R10, and then the next year when they were benchmarking the e-tron versus but they were always Monday, right? Like after the race, but
Oh,
because
yeah.
like the trash or the like Sebring is a party too. Sebring for people who haven't been, it's in March, it's spring
Yeah.
break, it's Everglades rednecks. It's a little bit of everything, and
It
everybody's
is.
very drunk, and not the drivers, but the
Yep.
fans, and so it's a bit of a mess. And so I guess where I'm going with that is like if you just open the doors to anybody who wanted to attend on test day, that might wreck the venue. And so you almost want to say, okay, do it Monday. One, people are less likely to, it won't, that might control the amount of people who come in because Monday it's hard to get off work or whatever. But also,
Right.
if they do trample the, you know, astroturf or whatever in a way that like doesn't look pretty for the people who paid for big money to be in, it doesn't really matter because it's over at that point.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think based on what I saw, it's pretty hard to trample it there. You can bring in very small water bottles and other items, but for the most part, it's there's trash cans everywhere, and you're either going to spend the money on the drinks
Yeah.
or you're not. It was pretty clean. I mean, you can buy a general campus pass, which is you just walk
Right.
around and they
Do,
do a good job of keeping it nice.
do you think after an open day of like anybody wants to come in can? Like that's
No,
my
they would just say you can't if you can't bring in your own food and drinks. You either buy it
yeah.
there, which there's trash cans, and no one's going to spend the money on that kind of stuff, and you may be limited to certain areas of the track. But
Right.
I thought it was a good idea.
No, I agree. I think that would be giving access to more people, particularly people who can't afford to be there on race day or be in. Even I looked at like I use ChatGPT, so the numbers could be suspect. But like looking at the numbers for just being in the attendance in the stands at Miami was considerably more than Montreal. And
Oh, was it? Yeah. It was
yeah,
packed.
so like I don't know, it'd just be cool to. I think your buddy's onto something there, and I doubt the teams would mind the extra testing.
Yeah, I didn't realize how big that track was. It's got a huge straightaway on it.
Was it?
And the promoter who took us on the tour said it's all their own asphalt. There's no public streets. And they did Formula E, or they're going to do Formula E, and they're starting to expand with more series coming there. But it's a pretty neat circuit. It's hard. I've raced it on the sim at the Audi Turn One Club, and it was much harder than I thought. Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Sam Collins, who's like he's like a technical analyst for the Formula One programming, not the race coverage at Apple, but like he does kind of a deep dive technical
He has a
show.
YouTube channel. Yeah, he breaks.
Yes,
Yeah, I love my favorite. I love his breakdowns of. He
he's
just
so
did the
nerdy.
DTM car. Yeah.
He's one of my favorite people.
How does he get the information? Is what I wonder every time I'm watching it. Did you see the DTM one he just did on
I
the
haven't seen it yet.
Alvarez
No.
DTM car? Yeah, the facts he has. I don't know how he gets access or where he gets it from.
Yeah,
We gotta find out. Yeah,
yeah.
he's
No,
awesome.
he's pretty phenomenal at getting stuff. Like he broke the story on the Chip Ganassi tunnel in like Western Pennsylvania. And
Yeah. What were you gonna
um,
say about him before I interrupted?
oh,
Sorry.
no, he was talking about what he thought of the rest of the season. Right, this was before Miami that we spoke, and he's like, Miami is its own track. So he's like, some people might show up with an upgrade package, which for Miami is a bold strategy because it's kind of like, setting up for Miami. You're not really kind of like Montreal. You're not really setting up for any other race. And he goes, so you've got those two races that are pretty unique circuits. And then we get to Monaco. And this was a really interesting take, I thought, was because maybe it's obvious to everybody else and it just wasn't to me. But Monaco is such a tight, small track. The Ferraris are probably going to clean house there because they have the small turbo. They're quick to accelerate. They can really, it's really the long straights where they run out of wind and
Yeah.
the serious competitors catch them. And so Monaco, they may very well walk away with that race. And then what's weird is, and he goes, that's when what will really get interesting is beyond that. I think what Barcelona is after that, and then Spa. And
Yeah.
he's like, those circuits are like fast and especially Spa, right, with the straights. And so
Yeah.
seeing kind of how it plays out there, and that was the other thing for people who've listened to that podcast already. I'm probably repeating all this stuff they've already heard, but like the other thing that was interesting that I found was I asked him about, like, he said like the Audi engine has a bigger turbo. So I
The
was like, oh,
biggest on
so
the grid, apparently. Yeah.
yeah. So I go, well, maybe that will do well at Spa. Then he goes, no, that's what's weird about it. Like, it's like that is, but the car is a high downforce car. So like, it's like, it won't do well on the long straights because it's a high downforce car.
Well, I was following X when I was at the race, and somebody said the onboard for Audi looked like they were losing on the streets in Miami. And I said, "Well, they have the
Really?
biggest turbo in preseason testing. They had the fastest top speed of any car."
Right.
I thought it was the bigger turbo, but I don't think they brought it. I believe they brought an upgraded rear floor to Miami, and that was it. I thought Ferrari brought an upgrade package, and it didn't work out for them. But
Rebel
yeah,
did too, I think.
yeah, I think Red Bull noticeably performed better. But I'm curious to see what Audi does
Well,
with their upgrade.
I forget the name of the rule, but there's another rule where, like, if you're so far back from the leader in the title chase that you get the max number of investment dollars in, maybe it's not dollar, whatever. You get the max amount of investment or changes allowed in the car in the latter part of the season.
Yeah,
So
there's an acronym for a power unit development or something. If you're way off the pace, I can't remember what it is. I'm still learning all the F1
right,
details. Yeah, but I'll be curious to see what their package looks like. I really went around that car in detail when I was on the grid, and I saw the rear floor that someone had pointed out online, but everything else looked the same to me. So
it's funny how I don't know if you can tell the difference. Did you look at the display car much?
yes,
So what I don't get is there are these display cars that are around. I think Canada has one. The one that's showing up in the US may be the same one that Canada's been using. But they have the old, like the original design side pods which is the
Side
easy.
pods. Yep, and the front wing actuators too.
You gotta wonder why they don't. I mean, the side pods are such a defining thing, so easy to spot. I didn't even recognize the wing, so um, maybe others that are slightly more aware than me would. But like the side pods, because they're painted red and they're very different in shape. Like I'm amazed they haven't like put newer side pods on the display car. Just
I know, from my understanding, those display cars are just spec level F1. F1 has had a 2026 show car. Like
right,
this is a baseline F1 car, and that's all they are, just painted with the
just that with
livery.
the Audi livery on it.
Yeah.
You got to. Well, that's where I was going with my question. If you looked at them both together, because like part of me wonders like, can't you just bolt those side pod like the newer side pods onto that F1 display car and like make it look like
I mean, I guess you could, yeah.
yeah.
I saw a video pre-race where the whole side of that pod flips up
Oh,
if you're on
really?
an oh yeah, it was sick. It was on the Australian Grand Prix. So if you're on an airplane where the luggage area
Yeah,
flips up, that whole red piece had flipped up and the power unit's right there and he was working on it and then it closed down. I said that is either every F1 car is like that or Audi had engineered it that way.
right.
But it was pretty awesome to see how it
It's pretty
opened.
rad.
Yeah, but the side pods are super tiny up front where the air comes in. The zero pod concept, they call it. Mercedes failed with it. Audi seems to be making it work. So,
Well,
well, kind of, sort of. When the cars run,
yeah, right.
they have good pace. We just gotta get them. We got to fix the starts.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah. How do you fix that? As I understand it, like getting off the line with the big turbo.
It all has to do with, I guess, that 50/50 battery management. How do you get the turbo spooled up? And I think
Right?
Mattia Binotto had said they had tire slippage issues where
Did they?
it wasn't mechanical as much as it was software on the starts.
Huh.
But if you run the stats of the first four races this year of where Audi qualified and where they were after lap one, I think it was a combined over 19 places they had lost in the first lap through four
I
races.
forget which one it was where like Nico started in like I don't know, ninth or tenth and ended up in 19th by the end of the first lap. Like
Yeah, I think that was Miami, wasn't it? He
might
got
have
hit, the
been.
wing got hit. Yeah.
No, it
It
was. I think it was
wasn't.
China. What was before Miami? China?
Was it Suzuka, Fuji?
Fuji. That was
Or
it.
Fuji, yeah. Yeah, and Gabriel did a great job driving from 21st back up to 11th or 12th, I think.
Right.
He had a
The
couple
trick
of
is like
cars for tire, but
the where I'm curious. Unfortunately, they're finding themselves having to fight to get back to mid pack, which is where they qualified. Right. Like
yes.
what
And he, go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say the race I'd love to see is like where they don't lose those spots and see how they. If you have like the big four teams and that tend to run those, ahead of that mid pack, and for Audi to be able to be competitive with even the back of those big four, like that's where I'd love to see them be, but they never really seem to have a chance because they end up at the back of the pack at the end of the first lap.
That's where I'm at. They're qualifying right outside the top 10, 11. They should be fighting for points every race. Alpine's a little stronger than I think everyone expected for the midfield teams, but other than that,
Yeah,
I think Audi's in the mix. I
Haas
really
Haas too is pretty damn strong
Yeah,
for
they were not good in Miami for whatever reason. They went backwards,
did they?
but yeah, a couple times they've shown some potential. But they've been at it for a long time too. So
I'm trying to remember. They're all running Mercedes engines, aren't they?
I think Haas might be Ferrari.
Maybe
I don't know. I get confused on who's running Mercedes. I know McLaren is running Mercedes.
McLaren and Alpine,
Okay.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. Let's see who it is.
for sure.
Okay. So Haas is Ferrari, Cadillac's Ferrari. There had to be someone else running it. Racing Bulls are obviously Racing Bulls. Um, Aston Martin is only Honda. I don't know. I have to look at it. It's hard keeping track. I think Mercedes has the
Totally
most units on the grid though.
right.
Yeah.
Somebody was it one of the analysts I was saying that like the trick is the software, right? Like they all have McLaren has the same hardware, but they've still got to figure out the
Yes,
management.
that's the key to it. And walking around the cars, I've told a couple people the power unit and the software is where it's all at. It's not like we're looking at an R18 versus the 908 and you can see fundamental changes. And this is why
Right.
that car, Yes, they have all the trick aero that you can analyze that help with tire wear and tire degradation, but the cars are very similar looking. It's really, after I walked the grid, I said this is all about the power unit for a lot of it. If you have a good power unit, you can get in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, my kid's got a prom tonight, so I gotta
Yeah.
cut this one tight, but I'd love to catch up again sometime soon.
Yeah, we'll do another one. But thanks for having me, and
Yeah.
have fun with prom tonight.
The Four Rings If You Know You Know podcast is part of the Weekly Driver podcast series. For more news and features about Audi, visit the Four Rings If You Know You Know website at oooiykyk.com. That's 4OSIYKYK.com. There you can also subscribe to the Four Rings If You Know You Know Substack newsletter that will keep the latest Audi news and features coming straight to your inbox. Four Rings If You Know You Know is an independent production and not affiliated with the Audi brand. If you know, you know.